Yeah, she's now saying I'm back on shift at the club and stuff. So I think she's.
We're live.
Hello, we are live.
We are live.
How are you, Nikki?
I'm okay. It's a sunny Friday here in Portsmouth, so we're not doing too bad. How are you, Alisdair?
Very good, thank you. It is Friday.
It's Friday.
Love a Friday. Mainly because I get to do this. And it's obviously the weekend coming. Work's wrapping up. It's just an admin day for me at work. So it's kind of like it is like the end of the week, and I feel like I've completed stuff. And yeah, I get to do some fun stuff. So all good in the hood, as they say. Welcome back to our listeners.
Hello.
Lockdown Lunchtime live with myself and Nikki. And you may have noticed that Danny's not with us again. So Danny has had to return to her day job, which is good news. Welcome back. Oh, why am I echoing? Who's? Oh, Nikki.
I was watching it. Sorry.
She's watching herself. Well,
so we haven't got Danny.
We haven't got Danny, which is a shame.
But we send our love.
We do send our love to her.
We do send our love. We'll try not to talk so much shit today. We have half a plan.
Well, talking shit's all what it's all about. I'm sure there's value in it. Funny enough, I saw an advert for another coach a job advert, who's recruiting somebody to be a gold nugget miner was the job title.
Oh, I like that.
To sit and go through her content and pull little bits so that could be repurposed and put out for social media. And which is a great idea, and it's definitely what lots of the influencers or the people that use social media to drive their business, where they use like a podcast and they grab bits of that and put that out on social media, or they pull parts of an email and they put that out on social media to give a taste. And definitely people like Gary Vaynerchuk do it. They even grabbed like parts of Facebook Live and then repurpose and put that out as a podcast and things like that. So there's and which is I think would be quite a cool job. She wasn't paying badly for it either, so I didn't apply because Nikki, I've got enough on my plate.
I think you do. I think that's a fair. I think that's a fair assessment.
I've got my own content to repurpose.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd talk about a week in the life of, and tell you a bit about what we do, who we are, so you can maybe get to know us. Nikki, you came. So I started the podcast back in almost a year ago, 10 months ago.
Yeah.
And you.
Quick, hasn't it?
I mean, it has. And then you came on the first group podcast I had, which was probably, I would say, if it was 3 challenges ago, then
started in March, I think it was. Yeah. It started in March, I remember. I think it was partway through March. A couple of weeks' time, it'll be a year. That's crazy.
No, it can be. No, it must have been July. Anyway, it doesn't matter when it was. It's been enough time.
Oh no, the first challenge I did was in March, and then it was the next challenge.
Next one.
Yeah.
We've known each other for a year. Let's have a drink.
Yes. There you go.
So, but you joined that, and that was my kind of like start of my movement across your podcasts into running my own business. And came off the back of that was then building my own business. But I was on furlough at the time.
Yes.
And now I'm back at work. I have been for 6 months. I'm trying to balance the two. So my week can be very busy, as I know yours can, because you've followed a similar path over the last 5 months, 4 months.
3 months? Yeah, I don't know.
And it all just time moves very quickly, doesn't it? So what's kind of some of the differences, right? So in your life now to where it was?
As in a year ago?
Well, maybe before you started running your own business, what was the kind of key things that I think because if I think must be so many people out there who are maybe considering, you don't really know what it's like, how do you achieve everything? What do you get in? Maybe how's life different in lockdown? Just what do you think?
Lockdown for me has been a funny one because I have still been working. I've been working the whole way through, and I work in the office still for half of the week. So the first half of the week I'm in the office, and the second half I get to work from home, which is why I can do this on my lunch break. So that's never changed, and that's quite demanding as a job. It requires full attention as a project manager. So that's a good job. It's something I enjoy for sure. My sort of, I don't, it feels scary calling it a business. My business started more out of passion than need, if that's an okay thing to say. Kind of started more as an Instagram page that I was enjoying doing, and the idea kind of came to me quite organically and naturally over a few months. And here we are.
Okay. I remember saying that to you, that we, maybe you don't mind me saying, well, we had a coaching session back in November, and you were talking about like you wanted to do something, but you didn't quite know what it looked like, and you just had this urge to kind of do something off your own back without it being linked to your corporate, something that maybe grow, and I remember saying, start it as a passion project, do something you're really passionate about.
That's it. Yeah, it's never been. Yeah, that's it. It starts as a hobby, because I enjoy doing it, because I genuinely enjoy reading. I always have, and it feels like I'm giving presents to people. No, it started as a passion project. It still is a passion project, more than anything. If it turns into something more, then that's great. But right now, it's something I enjoy doing. And yeah, that's it. I like being busy, so I tend to find things to add to my plate when I'm not busy.
With things being passion project, I would coach that with anybody. I'd use the same. Passionate, what do you love doing, and do that.
Yeah.
Quite often you find that people are already doing those things. Like if you think about cupcake makers, for example, good friend, good, obviously going to be a good friend if they make cupcakes, right? But if a lot of these people are doing those things anyway, but they maybe post a little bit to Facebook, but they don't have anything dedicated to it. Instagram pages, they maybe don't have a website, and they don't tell enough people about it. They do the love of it.
Yeah, which is brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I've got a friend that cooks loads, and was always wanting to tell us about it, and we'd always tried to encourage him to go and do something with it. He hasn't. Maybe doesn't want to, but there's a lot of people out there who don't realize that you can just take your passion and monetize it, essentially. And that's a dirty subject, I think, sometimes, even like within people think, like, I'm monetizing it, I shouldn't be making money out of this. Well, what about just covering your costs?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sometimes that's a good place to start. Well, okay, if I could bake for free by selling a few bits, would that not encourage you to bake more? Could you bake more if you were suddenly had more? So I think you shouldn't be scared of monetizing something.
I agree.
Because sometimes you should be paid for what you do, especially if you are doing it for other people sometimes, or if it costs you a lot to do.
Time, if anything, more than anything else, rather than resource. Yeah,
value your time. So it's important to monetize it, and there's lots of ways you can do that. You could have a YouTube channel and turn on adverts.
Yeah.
You could just cover your costs and supply like you a book box. You could do like I'm doing next week, Nikki. I'm doing a webinar.
Yes, I've heard about this.
So you've heard about it. So,
I've heard about this. Would you like to tell everyone about this?
Because you subscribe to my emails.
That is because I've subscribed to your emails.
No, so before I joined a certain academy, James Smith Academy, I never really knew about emails and email marketing, and we get a lot of them. And I unsubscribe from a lot. Yeah, I unsubscribe from Argos, for example. But I subscribe to others because I actually like what's in them.
And you gain something from that. You know, there's interest, and you're gaining knowledge or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I gain something from it.
Yeah.
So within my email, I try to make sure that they're either entertaining some days, but they're also supportive to people's development.
Yeah.
I try to give away some of my knowledge, which I've gained from putting in the time and effort into learning. And I try to pass on that. Do I pass on it all of my knowledge?
Yeah.
No, because if I had to put it all into an email, you wouldn't read it all. But also, the intention of an email subscription is that hopefully it's the right time for those people. They then come on and they get some additional support from me, either through training, coaching, personal development. You know, there's lots of different options. But getting my email subscription, just in that, you would get something from it. Hopefully, you can tell me you subscribe and you've subscribed for a long time. So hopefully, there is some things in there.
I do concur. There is nice learnings in there. I like it.
Is there sometimes going to be some messages in there that are for me about, would you like to join my webinar, for example? Now, my webinar is free. You can have a free option, but you can also choose to pay a little bit to be involved with VIP access, and you will get more from that. I'm not going to charge you the earth. I'm only charging £5 for VIP access. But actually,
and that means you can. Oh, go on.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say. So that what when you say you get more from that, what do you mean? Is that being part of the discussion as well as just being talked to?
So, yes. So you will be part of the training group. So you will receive the training pack. So you will receive some pre-training. You will receive the actual training live. So it will be picked. You'll also be part of the Q&A where you can ask me specific questions about the training, about anything else. You might ask me about anything else, but you can be part of that Q&A afterwards. And you'll also be part of the group. So you will meet people, you'll network. They may ask a specific question that you can relate to, and you can talk to them afterwards about it. Yeah, I'd quite happily leave my Zoom call open and people can have a natter. If you just want that free stuff and just to listen to it, you would just join the Facebook Live and you would watch that way. But
it's good to have them options, isn't it? I think people are at different stages of life and want different things.
A little bit, but you might actually want to be involved. What you might realize is the stuff that you need support with is going to be much better dealt with on a one-to-one level, and then you'll choose to move on to some one-to-one coaching. But everybody's at a different stage. So, you know, my week, if we're going back to my week in my life, has been around, you know, setting that up for the last couple of weeks. It doesn't just happen overnight, setting up a webinar.
No.
So, I'm fortunate I've done one before, that I have gained some knowledge on how to set them up, for example.
Yeah.
But I might have had to go away and learn that. But I've had to do a lot of changes on my website just to get it set up so you can subscribe and you can, you know, move through the process to either choose the free option, choose a donate option, or go full VIP and have that option. But I've given that VIP access to my email subscribers. They can get VIP for free just by being on my email list. So sometimes being on an email list gives you these benefits.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I write to my email subscribers every day. Sometimes it's complete waffle and I talk about, you know, just what's happened in my life. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I give you some knowledge, but I always try to bring it back to personal development. So that's something I do every day anyway. First thing in the morning or 5 to midnight, and I'm like, I haven't my email today. So life's very busy. But what about you? What sort of things do you now do?
The things I do weekly is reading. No, my newsletter goes out once a week because I cannot put the time to do it once a day at the moment, and that's okay. And I'm fine with that. My email goes out once a week, and yeah, my email subscribers get extra little tidbits, get heads up on what's being reviewed the next week, and for when boxes go live, like one has just gone live, they get the weekend early access, so only them have access to it, so they get first priority. So I think getting emails to have early access to things is exciting as well. It makes people feel like they're wanted and needed and special. So I think it's all good marketing, isn't it? But yeah, for me, it's the social media is a big part of it, but it takes a lot of planning. Some dates over the weekends when I'm not doing my day job, on my planning days for the week coming up, I know roughly, I know by the end of Sunday, I know exactly what I posted. Those photos are ready, all that content is ready to go. And then I use a buffer app as much as possible so that I don't have to think about it. It's there and it'll run through so that during the day, my day job, I don't have to think about it. I can just concentrate on my day job and do it. So I very much compartmentalize things like that because it makes it easier for me. So yeah.
And I would agree. Like I'd fallen out of love with social media a little bit myself because I'm so consumed by screens elsewhere.
Yes.
I'm not active on social media at the moment, and it's not what I would be telling my clients to do. I would be saying to you, if you want a presence,
it's important, isn't it? Yeah.
It's key to the success of your business is to get people's attention.
Yes, and to hold their attention and keep their attention and keep them wanting more.
And what's the easiest way to get people's attention, Nikki?
Cake.
Hey!
Let's see
how. Hey, you! Hello!
Jesus, I think you've woken everyone up.
if you're listening to the podcast.
Jesus, works. Sorry, everyone, for that first eardrums.
I got your attention, right? So
scared the shit out of us, but you got our attention, yeah. Yeah, it's constantly talking to people, isn't it? It's constantly having a presence. It's being consistent in the message that you're giving, and it's building trust.
But marketing is not always for the business. Like I think there's a fear sometimes with marketing or sales that you're not selling to me. But how many of us have bought something that we like and we use because we were sold to? Selling is for both parties.
Yeah.
When I was doing door-to-door sales, and I'm knocking on people's door, the dreaded door-to-door salesman. But if I rocked up on your doorstep and I find out that you were with Virgin and you were spending X price, but I could do the same and it was going to cost you less, there's been a benefit to opening that front door, right? And I sold to people because not only because I could save them price, maybe they were upset, maybe the services weren't working, maybe it was just the right time.
Yeah.
So that didn't mean that every door I knocked on, I could have saved the money, but I had to try and find out so I could try and save them money. Did I get a commission and a benefit out of doing that job? Of course. None of us go to work to not earn the money. And everybody thinks the salesman in it for himself, but nobody questions the accountant when they give them their bill. Nobody goes, well, hang on, you sold to me, you gave me a bill for that service. So yeah, but marketing and sales, there is a benefit to the customer. I understand that people's perception of that is because of some poor experiences.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
We've all had a poor experience of a salesman.
Yeah.
Every single one of us, I'm sure, has had a poor experience.
But it's evolved over the years, isn't it? There's less cold callers because people are more in front of their phones.
Yeah,
so that's the perfect place, yeah.
But cold calling, people ringing might have died. But you've got cold emails, We get those.
Oh, no, absolutely. So I literally meant on the phone, because no one picks up the phone now. No one will pick up the phone if they don't know who that number is.
I don't know who that is, but you accept a DM request from a stranger, unless it's one of the crazy ones that we all get. And so
What are you on about?
but we see stuff that all cold means is you've not met or heard of that person previously.
There's no previous relationship.
Yeah, and that's all it is. But who knows? Like when you were approached by that male or female in a bar, that was a cold experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't a pleasant one.
That could have.
That's not my experience.
But some people have met their partners that way.
Mm.
People will go out on a date with a person that started chatting to them online.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's just
which is fine.
I don't know. Of course it is. It's fine. It's, so
there's nothing. Just to clear that up, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's not what we're suggesting here.
No. So anyway, so I'll a day in the life of you're saying is busy.
It's busy. I like to keep busy. Yeah. It's managing both. It's managing jobs and it's compartmentalizing. So the hours that are in my day job are just my job hours, and then outside that I fit in everything else around it. Because that's how I do.
Compartmentalizing it.
As in, when I'm in work, that is all I'm doing. I'm not having to think about books and stuff, because I know on a Saturday or a Sunday I've got everything planned out, so there's no need to be worrying about, right, I've got to post it this time, I've got to do this, because I know it's set up in the app that it's done. I can do that on my own time, and I don't have to think and worry. I get a lunch break at work, so if there's anything urgent, I can check it within a few hours, and there's nothing drop dead urgent like that in my line of work. So yeah, absolutely. It takes us.
Plan your time. I mean, you're a planner anyway.
I'm a planner anyway, so it sits with me. It doesn't feel like effort to have this. I prefer a plan and prefer being in control. So having it like that works for me, definitely. And I was fortunate enough not to be furloughed, so I've had I've adapted to what life's thrown at me, and there we go.
So what's involved? Right, so you've got a new box coming out. What's involved in you getting that to the customer's door from every month?
So there are books that I read, first of all, so I will have read the book. There is a lot of, I read for enjoyment and I read for education. I read a big mix of fiction and non-fiction, so that's something I choose to do anyway. But each month there is a theme, so I try and theme the book and the gift around a theme. So there is thought that goes into the theme, and then it's pairing a book with a theme. Some months there's already quite a good theme already given because of the month's sort of events. So February and next Monday is International Women's Day, so I themed it around that, around togetherness, around unity. For example, I think I may have this wrong. I think October is Black History Month, so that's a really good theme to sort of amplify Black voices. September is, I believe, Latina and North American Indian History Heritage Month as well. So there's some nice themes. April, you've got World Earth Day. There's some Pride Month is June. So there's some really good themes already set in the calendar, which I'd like to work around as much as I can, because I think not sort of to jump on the bandwagon, but because it's important to amplify, important to vary what we read and what we see. So we all live our own lives, and we're all very different from that. So to experience other people's helps them with empathy and understanding and stuff. So there's thought that goes into the theme that matches the book to the theme. Then there's researching the gifts and supplies to also match. And then there's the social media side of it, which is marketing it, which is launching. Some businesses that launch new products are maybe only launching 2 or 3 new products once a year, but for this being a sort of monthly subscription, it's a new launch every month. So there's prep within that. There's teasing the themes, there's teasing the book, there's sort of snowballing, getting interest in that. There's a lot of social media. There's a lot of social media stalking there. Yeah.
Facebook Live.
Facebook Lives, of course. Yep. I've started going live as well. Thursday nights are my live nights. We went live yesterday.
How do you find going live? Because that's, I think, is a massive fear for some
it's
people.
terrifying. It's terrifying. Doing the podcast with you guys last year definitely helped with that, and it's a lot less scary. But it's doing lives over stories really helps people engage with you, because you know it's live and it's not pre-recorded. On your stories or your photos or whatever you record, you can redo that as many times as you like until you're happy. But sitting live, there's a bit of vulnerability there, and people pick up on that, and positively pick up on that, and empathize and connect with you a bit better as well, I think. So yeah,
there's a difference between, I think, like this, I sometimes forget I'm just talking to you, and then I realize I'm recording and that's going out live, and there is people watching.
Yeah.
But when you've got when you're by yourself, now I've done some solo podcasts.
Yeah.
And I've got one policy with my podcast: never edit, unless you've got something really embarrassing you need to take out. But that's partly why I press live, because it keeps thinking about staying on track. And but when doing a solo one, who are you talking to? There's like this is the invisible person. You're talking to yourself, and you're trying to sort of that I find difficult. But then going live. So with my podcast, if I just recording it, I could, like you say, delete and just re-record and restart. You press that live button, it's good to go. And then you're talking to nobody, but then you realize people are watching.
Yeah.
So then you're just talking to handles and things, and you're having Q&As come in sometimes, or whatever your format of your live is, can help. But sometimes if there's and I find it weird, like you're looking at a thing and it's like 5 people are joining, 1 person's watching, 7 people are watching, and you're looking at all this, and you've got comments coming up on the screen, and there's lots to kind of watch and keep an eye on, or not keep an eye on if you're trying to ignore it.
I try not to look at the number because I find it a bit distracting, and I think that comes over as well. I think it's good to watch comments come in because you can interact with people, and I think it's good. But in terms of how many people are watching, I think that could be quite distracting and sometimes quite demoralizing if you can see numbers going down and you don't know why people have joined to start with. It might have been an accidental click. They might have had kids running around somewhere that they've had to shoot off with. I think it's important not to take it personally. There's a lot of people that aren't available at a certain time as well. So I think you can go very inwards with a lot of this stuff, but I don't think you necessarily need to.
How many lives have you done now?
That is the second one, and now I'm starting every week on a Thursday night to go live. So these next few are going.
That initial fear, no.
No, yesterday I was still shaking, nervous as hell, but that's always going to be. I'm not a good public speaker. I still will always get a bit nervous, and there's nervousness because I care and because I want it to do well. So that's a bit of it. Next week and the week after will be interesting because I'm going live with the wonderful women that have put the gifts in the box. So I'm going live with other people, which will be interesting. It's one thing on your own when you've got your post-its behind the screen, you know what you're saying, and you've planned it and you've talked it through. But it'll be nice next week to go live with them guys to talk a bit about them. It is scary, but I think there's a bit of it also needs to be done if that's what you want to do and promote. I think it helps certainly with that kind of stuff.
And that's, I think the word sometimes we get caught up in this promote. It's actually a lot of it's about engagement. We want to keep our listeners and followers engaged.
Yeah.
Which actually means we're working for you guys. I don't want to bring you a crap podcast. I want to bring something you enjoy and you laugh and you find interesting, so that you listen to next week's, and then that keeps me accountable towards delivering a good experience again next time. So it's about engagement, and we'd love to hear back from our listeners and the live, and we get people to follow us on Facebook, and so engagement's also about when we want you to comment. If I put out the podcast on Facebook and Instagram to tell you it's now available,
Mm.
I'd like you to comment. I'd also like, if you do listen to it, to snip the podcast page and put that out in your stories and things, and then tag us and let us know, because
Share the love.
yeah,
It's how we grow.
It's how we grow. It's how I can, if you're enjoying it, it's how I can get somebody else to enjoy it.
Mm.
And I always try to, if I'm on Instagram and things, and I will be back once I've got this, my other job, the one that actually gives me enough income to be able to do this, sort of quietens down. I want to make sure that I've got a good presence on social media, and I want to engage with my followers. But I always try to remember, if I see a local business's post and I like it, what does a like do? Not a lot. What does me telling somebody else about it do, or many other people about it do? It helps that person, but it also might help the people that I tell about it, because they're now aware of something that's available to them.
Yeah.
So it can have a double impact, And so let's all be do-gooders and share. Yeah, but it reminds me of I think it's Denzel Washington, where he says, each one teach one.
I like that.
And so, you just try and help each other out, help out other businesses, and not just businesses, but help out your friends if they're trying to raise money for charity. Share their thing, because that might be shared with somebody who can also resonate with that charity and they'd like to donate.
Definitely.
If your friend makes a great cake, share it. Tell people about it, because it might help that person start their business.
And everyone loves cake. Everyone always wants cake.
That's it. Nikki
share the cake.
Loves cake.
I really like cake.
We've been through years. But yeah, I
think that's a good point to end on. Share the love.
Share the
cake. Share the love. Share the cake.
And don't watch Nikki's live next week, because you're going to join my webinar. Because the fortunate thing is, Nikki's live will be saved, so you can watch afterwards.
They will be. They will all go on Instagram TV afterwards.
She's really good at doing that. Nikki puts out our podcasts on our IGTV, so you could watch it there.
Yep.
You can listen to it on all the podcast platforms.
Yep.
So if you're not in front of your Facebook, you can take it in your ears and have our dulcet tones in your ears. You don't always have to watch on Facebook. You can watch on YouTube if you prefer that way. We're everywhere, Nikki.
We are.
We are everywhere.
We are everywhere.
I also really appreciate everybody who's already supporting us. Whether you're listening, whether you're liking our posts, sharing our stuff, subscribing.
Absolutely.
Nikki, if people want to subscribe to your newsletter,
yes,
how do they do it?
They can head over to thebookishmindset.com, and there will be a little pop-up on the page there.
So, light boxes, which I learned.
Light boxes.
Nikki had used them. So, by me wanting to subscribe to Nikki's list, I learned about light boxes just by going to subscribe. So, just go into my email list. You just want to go to www.personalaccountabilitycoach.co.uk, and there'll be a pop-up box where you can subscribe to the webinar. But if you don't want to go to the webinar, there's a link on the bottom of the page where you can just subscribe to the email. So I'd love if people subscribed, and you let me know your thoughts. If there's stuff that's missing from that you was expecting, just reply to the email and say, hey man, I thought you were going to give me this.
Yeah.
It might just give me an idea.
I think that's good.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Nikki. And
Alisdair.
be back next week.
Hopefully we will. See you then.
See you later.